Welcome back to the channel, and if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe for daily deep dives into the stories shaking the world. Today's analysis takes us into one of the most dramatic and unexpected controversies in global politics, a saga that has turned the Nobel Peace Prize from a hushed ceremony of global recognition into a theater of high-stakes diplomacy and political spectacle. At the center of this storm is none other than Donald Trump, the former U.S. president whose name has now been put forward multiple times by different countries and political figures, creating shockwaves of speculation, anger, and disbelief about whether he could ever actually walk away with one of the world's most prestigious honors. The very idea of Trump being nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize has always been polarizing, but what is happening now is something else entirely. Governments are making public announcements of their nominations, heads of state are staging photo ops around the process, and Trump himself is openly lobbying for recognition. It began with familiar ground. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu formally telling the world he had put Trump's name forward, citing his role in brokering peace deals in the Middle East and pushing back on threats involving Iran. Netanyahu went as far as hand-delivering a letter, a clear attempt to amplify the optics. Pakistan followed suit, nominating Trump for his role in helping to escalate rising tensions with India. Soon after, Cambodia joined the list after Trump was credited with intervening to help bring a truce in deadly clashes along the Cambodia-Thailand border. Armenia and Azerbaijan, no strangers to conflict, also floated their support, citing his willingness to involve the U.S. in fragile peace talks. Even American lawmakers such as Representative Buddy Carter and Representative Darrell Issa have stepped in, filing official paperwork with the Nobel Committee. What makes this moment particularly shocking is how public the process has become. By tradition, Nobel nominations are secretive, their deliberations sealed for 50 years. Yet in Trump's case, countries and politicians are broadcasting their nominations like campaign endorsements. It feels less like a confidential peace process and more like a coordinated media blitz designed to build a narrative that Trump is the world's leading peacemaker. Critics argue this is no accident. They claim this is a deliberate strategy to reshape Trump's global image, creating a peace legacy narrative that plays well with his base and could influence voters in the U.S. ahead of future elections. The spectacle feeds his image as a larger-than-life figure, someone too big for the Nobel Committee to ignore. But nominations do not equal victory, and here lies the real tension. While Trump is being pushed forward by multiple countries, he is also facing fierce competition and even fiercer criticism. Among the most credible candidates are figures like Yulia Navalnaya, the widow of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny, who has become a powerful symbol of resistance and democratic struggle after her husband's death. The odds markets consistently list her among the favorites. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has also been mentioned, alongside Philippe Lazzarini, head of UNRWA, and countless lesser-known activists and organizations around the world who have worked on the ground for peace. These names carry a moral weight that Trump struggles to match. The contrast between grassroots activists risking their lives and a polarizing former president still deeply associated with conflict makes his nomination all the more controversial. The Nobel Committee itself is another mountain Trump has to climb. At least 3 of the 5 committee members have already publicly expressed criticism of him, an extraordinary step that suggests his chances are slim. That resistance is rooted in a key contradiction. Alfred Nobel will specify that the prize should go to those who diminish standing armies, foster fellowship among nations, and truly advance peace. Trump's critics point to drone strikes, assassinations of foreign generals, withdrawal from global agreements, and domestic incitement that caused turmoil worldwide as reasons he fails that test. His supporters, meanwhile, counter with the Abraham Accords, temporary ceasefires, and his claimed interventions in hotspots like Ukraine, India, Pakistan, and Gaza. The fight over Trump's candidacy is really a fight over what the Nobel Prize means. Is it for the messy realities of political deals that stop bloodshed, even if temporary, or for the moral purity of selfless peace activism? The controversy has grown deeper because some nominations have already unraveled. A Ukrainian lawmaker who initially nominated Trump later withdrew his support, saying he no longer believed in the sincerity or effectiveness of Trump's efforts in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Questions have also been raised about the validity of certain nominations and whether all nominators even meet the eligibility rules of the Nobel Committee. In past years, prank or fraudulent nominations have been uncovered, and the same suspicion hangs over some of Trump's. This has fueled conspiracies that the campaign to nominate him is more about optics than reality, with backers using the Nobel name to launder credibility onto Trump's political brand. What makes the moment even more dramatic is Trump himself. Unlike most nominees, who remain quiet or humble, he has openly lobbied for the prize, even reportedly calling Norwegian officials to discuss it and trade issues in the same breath. He has boasted that he deserves it, claimed he ended wars, and suggested that his opponents are conspiring to deny him recognition. This behavior is unprecedented in the world of Nobel history, where discretion is valued. For Trump, though, every nomination is already a victory because it fuels headlines, rallies supporters, and adds another layer to the myth he wants to project. Trump is the man who alone kept the world from chaos. The shocking element today is the sheer scale of the push. Countries like Cambodia and Pakistan are not just nominating him but tying those nominations to specific peace interventions he allegedly influenced. These governments benefit politically, too. Aligning with Trump allows them to curry favor with a powerful figure who still has influence in U.S. politics. Armenia and Azerbaijan, by jointly praising his role, can signal openness to American influence in their fragile peace process. For them, Trump is a card to play, whether or not he ever wins the Nobel. It's less about the prize itself and more about signaling allegiances, pleasing allies, and using Trump's celebrity status to gain leverage on the international stage. What this tells us is that the Nobel Peace Prize has been dragged into the culture wars of the 21st century. If Trump were ever to win, his supporters would hail it as vindication of his vision and proof that the establishment was wrong about him. His critics would see it as a stain on the reputation of the Nobel Committee, an institution already criticized for giving prizes to controversial figures in the past. And even if he never wins, the mere fact that countries are lining up to nominate him has already served its purpose. It has created a global conversation, boosted his profile, and given him ammunition to claim he is a man of peace even as war rages in multiple regions. The Nobel Peace Prize was designed to reward those who make the world less violent, more just, and more cooperative. The question now is whether Trump's high-profile but often chaotic interventions meet that standard or whether his repeated nominations are simply a case of political theater dressed in the clothes of international recognition. With so many competitors whose records carry moral clarity, and with the Nobel Committee itself seemingly skeptical, the odds remain stacked against him. Yet the spectacle ensures that Trump remains at the center of attention, which may have been the point all along. The story of Trump and the Nobel Peace Prize is not over. More countries may nominate him in the coming months, more critics will step forward, and the committee will deliberate in secrecy as it always has. What we know is that the conspiracy theories, the public announcements, and the media frenzy have already changed how we view the Nobel process. Instead of quiet dignity, it now feels like a battlefield where politics and peace collide. And that in itself is shocking.